I'm a 28-year-old woman, the middle daughter of 3, raised in a family that's obsessed with appearances. Not just looks, but behavior, tone, posture, everything. Smiles in photos, perfect handshakes at reunions, matching sweaters during Christmas. I work in corporate law now and live alone in the city, and I visit home every Christmas like it's a calendar appointment that can't be skipped. Every year, Christmas is held at my oldest sister's house. She and her husband live in the suburbs, big house, granite countertops, holiday lights timed to music. Our parents come, my sisters and their partners, a few cousins, and my aunt with the never-ending stories. It's the same cast every time. Wine, ham, fireplace on full display, camera rolls filled with candid moments no one asked for. 6 years ago, something shifted. I unwrapped a gift labeled to Miss Fancy Pants. Inside was a bunch of mismatched, clearly used socks stuffed in a Ziploc bag. Everyone howled with laughter. My oldest sister leaned back like she'd landed a punchline. I smiled, confused. Laughed along. Figured maybe it was a one-off joke. Next year, it was a fake lottery ticket. I scratched and screamed for 5 seconds thinking I'd won $50,000, only for the card to say just kidding, in bold red letters. That time I caught someone filming me. It got passed around the room. Then came the glitter bombs, the shirt that said emotionally constipated, the expired sardines, and a gift bag that stank up the living room. No one else got gifts like that, just me. My younger sister got a full skincare kit she'd mentioned once in passing. My oldest got a designer candle set and a cookbook she'd been eyeing. One cousin got a leather-bound journal with her initials engraved. I got an empty can of whipped cream with a note that said lighten up. It became tradition, apparently. I was the designated laugh, every year without fail. I asked once, half joking, why it was always me. The answer came quick. I was too serious. I needed to loosen up. One of them said it with a wine glass raised, like it was a toast. Another said, it's just tradition now. When I didn't laugh hard enough, I was accused of ruining the mood. Still, I never did anything back. I gave thoughtful gifts, things I remembered from conversations, little luxuries they wouldn't buy themselves. I picked out a wine subscription for my brother-in-law. Got my mom a signed copy of her favorite author's new release. Bought my aunt a vintage scarf she'd admired once. Every year, I kept thinking, maybe this time they'll match my energy. One year, I pulled my mom and youngest sister aside. I told them I wasn't enjoying the joke gifts. I asked them if they thought it had gone too far. My mom smiled in that way she does when she's pretending to listen and said I was being overly sensitive. My youngest sister just said, you're reading too much into it. Last Christmas was the final straw. I opened a big box and pulled out baby clothes. Pink onesies, booties, a bib that said someday. The tag said, for when you finally grow up. My oldest sister clapped like she was proud of herself. My mom nearly fell out of her chair laughing. Someone wheezed and whispered, best one yet. That was the first Christmas I brought my boyfriend. We'd been dating for 8 months and he wanted to meet my family. He brought dessert, helped clean up, tried to blend in. On the way home, he asked if that was normal. I told him it was tradition. He didn't laugh. He said it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like humiliation that had just been normalized over time. Like the laughter wasn't shared, it was aimed. He wasn't angry, just quiet. That silence hit harder than any joke they ever made. Later that night, I went back and thought about all the times growing up when I was told to be the mature one. I was the kid who didn't cry when she got left out, the one who made room for others, who kept the peace. And somehow, that turned into me being the one they all decided could take the hits without complaint. So I made a decision. This year, I wouldn't play along. I wouldn't explode, I wouldn't yell, I wouldn't storm out. I'd just mirror them. Not in cruelty, but with intent. I started working on something that wasn't angry, just deliberate. I made a list. Went back over every joke gift I'd received since it started. Tracked down photos. Made notes. Then I started planning. 5 gifts. All for the usual suspects. Each one would be beautiful on the outside, wrapped perfectly, ribbon curled, premium boxes. But inside, they'd hold something different. Not trash. Not insults. Just memory. A receipt of how this little tradition had evolved. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't a call-out. It was balance. One round of clarity wrapped in shiny paper. I didn't tell anyone. Not even my boyfriend at first. I wanted to see what happened when the punchline finally pointed both ways. In early December, the family Christmas invite showed up, same email template as every year. My oldest sister sent it out to the whole group with the subject line, our favorite tradition. The message listed the dates, the address, the dinner menu preview, even a reminder to wear holiday-appropriate colors. I clicked yes. So did everyone else. My boyfriend read over my shoulder and just nodded. He said he'd come with me again this year. He wanted to see how things would go now that I wasn't walking in empty-handed, metaphorically speaking. That weekend, I started putting together the usual gifts. Skincare for my youngest sister, same brand she loves, limited holiday edition. A fantasy novel for my cousin, one she mentioned offhand months ago during brunch. A subscription wine box for my dad. A scarf for my mom, hand-woven wool, deep burgundy, her favorite color. All boxed and wrapped in clean folds, tied with satin ribbon. Then I made 5 more gifts. Each one a mug. I'd gone to a professional printer. Sent them high-res photos of the joke gifts I'd received over the years. Each mug had a caption printed beneath the photo. One showed the glitter bomb from 2020, for when you want the room to sparkle and your clothes forever. Another had the sardines from 2019, a gourmet treat for a fancy palate. One had the fake lottery ticket from 2018, hope you win some respect. The plunger from 2021 was captioned, to clear out the holiday spirit. The baby clothes from last year, for when you finally grow up. Each mug went into a white box, tissue-wrapped, placed in heavy wrapping paper with gold foil patterns. I added velvet bows and glossy name tags. They looked expensive. They looked kind. On Christmas Eve, we arrived exactly on time. My boyfriend carried the pie he'd baked, and I walked in with both gift bags balanced in my hands. The house looked like a catalog spread, twinkling lights, the smell of cinnamon, the hum of Christmas jazz on loop. My oldest sister greeted us in red velvet and pearls. She air-kissed my cheek. Dinner went the usual way. Everyone asked about my job, polite at first, then teasing. One cousin joked that I probably sent contracts in my sleep. Someone else asked if my boyfriend had to book time with me to have a conversation. My oldest sister leaned across the table and said she hoped I was ready for a real gift this year. Her husband smirked like it was an inside joke. We stayed through dessert and helped clear some of the dishes. Then everyone moved into the living room, fireplace on, camera set up, drinks refreshed. The tree blinked behind the mountain of gifts. Kids ripped through presents first. Then came the adults, one by one. My gifts were opened. My youngest sister gasped at the skincare set. My cousin hugged me over the book. My dad nodded at the wine delivery slip and said he'd crack open the first bottle that night. My mom smiled at the scarf and looped it around her shoulders. Then came my turn. A gift bag was tossed my way, creased, torn, one handle nearly off. Inside was a wrinkled t-shirt. The front read, "Emotionally constipated, can't give a crap." The room erupted. My aunt doubled over. One cousin slapped the floor. My mother laughed so hard she had to put her drink down. My father looked over and muttered, "Classic." I didn't react. I folded the shirt slowly, placed it back in the bag, and set it beside me. Then I stood up, picked up the 5 wrapped mugs, and handed them out. I didn't say much. Just, since we've had so many laughs over the years, I thought we could keep them going, this time, together. My oldest sister opened hers first. She grinned at the box, then paused when she saw the fake lottery ticket printed on ceramic. She read the caption aloud. Her mouth twitched. My dad opened the plunger mug. He stared at it for a few seconds, gave a dry chuckle, then put it on the floor beside his chair. My mom tore through the gold bow, tissue flying. She pulled out the baby clothes mug. The silence started to spread. My cousin leaned forward to read the sardine one. He blinked and looked around. Someone in the room coughed. Another sipped their wine too fast. No one laughed. My boyfriend stayed seated, watching. The wrapping paper rustled, but the room was still. All 5 mugs had been opened. All 5 had been read. The cousin who usually made jokes didn't say anything. One aunt looked down at her phone. My mother adjusted her scarf and avoided my eyes. I sipped my drink and leaned back. Nobody asked for explanations. Nobody asked where I got the photos. Nobody made another joke. It was the quietest Christmas morning we'd had in years. My oldest sister was the first to unwrap her mug. She lifted it out of the box slowly, holding it up for everyone to see. The image on it showed the fake lottery ticket from 2018, the one where I thought I won big. Underneath, in black text, it read, "Hope you win some respect." Her expression shifted, first confused, then annoyed. She lowered the mug and didn't say anything. My dad opened his next. He pulled out the mug with the toilet plunger on it, 2021's masterpiece. The caption read, "To clear out the holiday spirit." He gave a weak laugh, one of those empty chuckles people use when they're trying to act unbothered. Then he set it down on the floor beside him and leaned back in his chair like nothing had happened. The room went still. The usual noise of wrapping paper, cross conversations, and forced excitement faded. One cousin picked at a ribbon. My aunt finally broke the silence and asked, "Wait, are these actual gifts from before?" I nodded and said, "Every single one." My oldest sister finally spoke up. She asked if I was trying to embarrass them. I said no, I was just playing along with the family tradition, like always, matching the tone. Returning the energy. My mom looked at me and said I was being vindictive. I reminded her that no one had said a word when it was me being laughed at for 6 years straight. My youngest sister didn't join in. She didn't speak or move much. She just kept looking down at her mug, the one with the glitter bomb from last year. Her hands were still, her shoulders tense. My boyfriend leaned forward, set his cup down, and asked the room why no one was laughing now. He didn't raise his voice. He wasn't angry. Just curious. Calm. One of my cousins, probably the one with the least filter, let out a short laugh and said honestly, "This is long overdue. This is the best thing I've seen at a family Christmas." A few chuckles followed. Not everyone agreed, but no one tried to argue with him either. After that, the atmosphere collapsed. A few people looked down at their plates. Someone brought up the weather. Another asked about airport delays. My dad glanced in my direction briefly, then focused on his drink without saying anything. My mom mumbled something about me having too much time on my hands and no sense of humor. I didn't respond. Brunch ended earlier than usual. No second round of dessert. No let's get a group photo before everyone leaves. People started packing up. Jackets came out of closets. Car keys jingled. My boyfriend and I said polite goodbyes to a few cousins and slipped out before the rest of the goodbyes got awkward. Back at home, the notifications started coming in. That evening, my oldest sister sent a message. It was short. She said she felt targeted and asked if I thought what I did was really necessary. I read it twice before responding. I told her I had just given everyone a small taste of what they'd been serving me for years. I said if it didn't feel good, then maybe it never did. She didn't respond again. Later that night, I got another message, this time from a cousin. She said she remembered bringing a vegan casserole to Christmas years ago and being laughed at when nobody touched it. She said she'd never forgotten that. She thanked me for making them sit with something they couldn't laugh away. No one else reached out that night. No follow-ups. No apologies. Just silence and message receipts. This Christmas, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I didn't beg anyone to understand. I didn't make a speech. I just changed the direction of the joke. I made it land where it came from. And for the first time in years, I left that house without feeling like I'd been peeled apart for everyone's entertainment. There was no explosion, no fight, just a shift. A small one, but loud enough that no one knew what to say next. That was enough. Back at home, everything was quiet. My boyfriend put away the leftovers while I unpacked the bags. I placed the mugs on the kitchen counter in a row, like exhibits from a story that had finally ended. Neither of us said much. We didn't need to. Later that evening, my aunt called. She said the silence during brunch stood out more than anything she'd seen at a family gathering in years. Her exact words were, "It's probably the first honest Christmas in years." Then she hung up, just like that. Over the next 2 days, a few cousins reached out. One sent a single clapping emoji. Another messaged about time someone returned fire. No one asked for explanations. No one tried to guilt trip me or talk me into making things right. It felt like the air had changed. My parents didn't call. Not a word. No thank you for the gifts. Not even a photo of them using what I gave. The silence from them said more than 1,000 awkward conversations ever could. My boyfriend pointed it out over dinner, how the usual pattern was missing. No sarcastic texts. No backpedaling. Just quiet. He said when people are used to running the show and suddenly can't, they don't always fight. Sometimes they just disappear for a while. On the third day, my youngest sister asked to meet. She suggested a small cafe halfway between our places. I said sure. She didn't dodge anything. She admitted the joke gifts had always been a little much. She said no one ever questioned it because our oldest sister was the one who planned them every year. She kept the tone light but made it clear. The jokes were never accidental. They were rehearsed. I asked why no one ever turned that same humor on our oldest sister. No glitter bombs. No fake baby gifts. No expired snacks. She didn't answer. She did say one thing before we left. She said it was good someone finally made it stop. Not by yelling, not by blowing up, but by doing something they couldn't laugh off and move past. She hugged me, didn't say anything else, and left. That night, my cousin mentioned a new group chat called Moving Forward. Everyone from the family was in it, except me. My boyfriend saw the name and laughed once. But then he said, "They're not moving forward. They're just avoiding reflection." He didn't seem surprised. I didn't reply to the screenshot, didn't ask about the chat, didn't bring it up again. There was nothing else to explain. I had said everything I needed once, clearly and without apology. The first week of January came and went without the usual message. No group text about dinner plans. No email with the menu. No reminder to RSVP. It was quiet, which said enough. One cousin mentioned the dinner in passing. She dropped it into conversation casually, said they were still doing the annual New Year's get-together, same house, same crowd. Everyone would be there. Everyone except me. No one reached out to ask why I wasn't coming. No one offered an explanation or excuse. It was clear I'd been left off on purpose. Not forgotten. Excluded. A few days later, my phone rang. It was my dad. His voice was stiff, like he was reading from a script. He asked if I was planning on holding a grudge forever. I told him I hadn't held anything. I just responded one time after letting things slide for years. He said families tease each other sometimes. I asked him why, in all those years, I was the only one who ever got turned into a joke. Why it never rotated. Why the laughter never changed direction. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said maybe I just took things more personally than others. The line went silent after that. My youngest sister kept reaching out though. Not about anything heavy, just random things. A new recipe she tried. A picture of her dog in a ridiculous sweater. The photo of a sign outside a bakery that made her laugh. She never pushed, never asked questions. Just stayed in touch. When my boyfriend's birthday rolled around, we hosted a small dinner at our place. Just a few close friends, some homemade pasta, cake from a local bakery. She showed up with a thoughtful gift and helped clean up when it ended. She didn't bring up the rest of the family. Neither did I. I hadn't invited anyone else. Not out of spite, just because there wasn't much reason to. The invitations had always gone one way. This time I didn't bother pretending. After dinner, she stayed back for a few minutes. She said my actions made everyone uncomfortable, but maybe that discomfort was what they needed. Maybe they needed to be uncomfortable. Maybe that was the only thing that would ever make them stop and think. I told her I hadn't done any of it to punish anyone. I just didn't want to keep participating in something that always ended with me being smaller than when I walked in. At work that week, I got nominated for a Case Leadership Award. It came without politics, without strings, just recognition for the hours I put in and the results that followed. I accepted it quietly. No speeches, just a photo with the team and a clap on the back. My boyfriend planned a weekend trip after that. Rented a cabin a few hours away. No TV, no phone service. Just books, a fireplace, long walks, and actual quiet. No family talk. No drama. No gift wrap or group chats or forced laughter. I didn't miss the old version of Christmas. I didn't miss sitting in a room waiting for the next joke to land on me. I didn't miss being laughed at in the name of love. What I missed was peace. And now I had it. Word got around quicker than I expected. One cousin texted me out of the blue, saying my oldest sister had been telling people I lashed out and ruined Christmas just to settle some old grudge. She claimed I'd waited years to humiliate the family and called the mugs a calculated attack. That version of the story apparently played well in some circles. At the January dinner I wasn't invited to, she even read the mug captions aloud with dramatic voices, turned the whole thing into a performance, laughed extra loud while reenacting it. According to someone who was there, she framed it as a harmless joke that got blown out of proportion. Said she had no idea I was ever upset, but not everyone bought it. One cousin interrupted and said, it wasn't harmless, it was a pattern. She just mirrored it back once. After that, the room apparently went quiet. No one argued, but no one defended me either. My parents were there. They didn't say anything. They let the story keep rolling without stepping in. No correction, no truth. A few days later, another cousin messaged me privately. She said she remembered how, during one holiday years ago, someone had made a loud comment about her weight at the dinner table, and everyone laughed. She laughed too back then, but said it stayed with her for years. She thanked me. She said the mugs had made something click. 2 more cousins followed after that. One talked about being mocked over her career path. Another brought up a boyfriend she brought to dinner once who never came back. They all used the same phrase at some point. It was just a joke. And every time the laugh wasn't really theirs. I started to realize the mugs weren't only mine. They'd become mirrors. People were seeing their own moments in them, reflected back for the first time. framed plainly. No wrapping paper to hide behind. He called it emotional habit, something the family had built without even realizing. He said the family had built an entire rhythm around who got to joke and who had to take it. The second I flipped it, they lost their beat. They didn't know how to respond when they weren't in control of the tone. My youngest sister told me over coffee that she brought all this up during lunch with our mom. She pointed out how our oldest sister never gets teased, never ends up the butt of a joke. She said my mom quickly shifted the subject, asked if anyone wanted more bread. I wasn't surprised. Our parents had always chosen to deflect over reflect. Easier to keep the peace than question the pattern. One relative, not close but outspoken, suggested I be the bigger person and patch things up. I asked what exactly needed patching. I didn't yell. I didn't curse anyone out. I didn't block people or cut ties. I just stopped pretending the joke was funny when it never was. I didn't get a reply after that. I stopped explaining my side. The people who understood didn't need it, and the ones who didn't weren't going to hear it anyway. Around that same time, I was offered a new role at work, project lead on one of our biggest accounts. More responsibility, better hours, better pay. I didn't hesitate. I said yes. That night, my boyfriend cooked dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta, garlic bread, and wine. We ate in the kitchen. At the end of the meal, he raised his glass and toasted to balance, to boundaries. I once thought staying quiet made things easier, that not speaking up was how you kept peace in a family. But silence didn't keep the peace. It just protected everyone else's comfort at the cost of my own respect. I won't make that mistake again. In late March, a formal envelope showed up in the mail, heavy cardstock, gold trim. It was an invitation to my cousin's wedding anniversary dinner, sent from her, not my parents. No handwritten note, just a printed itinerary and the names of all immediate family, including mine. My boyfriend skimmed it, raised an eyebrow, and asked if I even wanted to go. I told him I didn't, but I also wasn't going to act like I'd vanished. We agreed to attend the dinner portion only, arrive on time, leave early, skip the mingling. The banquet hall was exactly what I expected. Dim lighting, white rose centerpieces, waitstaff in black ties, a string quartet near the entrance. The type of event where everything looks perfect if you don't look too closely. We walked in and headed to our assigned table, near the back, by the exit. Some cousins gave polite nods. No hugs. No real greetings. My parents were already seated near the front. My mom looked over once, didn't smile. My dad sipped his drink and didn't turn around. My oldest sister walked past twice, once going to the buffet, once coming back. Not a glance in our direction. Her husband kept his eyes on the floor. The silence was louder than anything they could have said. Only my youngest sister came over. She greeted us, complimented my boyfriend's jacket, made a quick joke about how the cousins looked like they were headed to a fashion show. She stayed just long enough to break the tension, then returned to her table. We sat with distant relatives, people I barely knew. A couple of polite conversations, mostly about food and traffic. No one brought up Christmas. No one mentioned the mugs. After dinner, the speeches started. My dad stood first, gave a long toast about resilience and staying strong through challenges. He didn't name names, but the undertones were clear. Then my mom spoke. She talked about grace and forgiveness and how families only grow when they rise above conflict. Her eyes swept the room, but skipped past our table. No one clapped particularly hard. I didn't respond. I didn't interrupt. I just listened. The whole evening felt like theater. Scripted words, curated smiles, everyone pretending the page had already been turned. Once the music started, we left. Thanked my cousin on the way out. Walked to the car without a single interruption. No one stopped us. No one followed. No one looked surprised we were leaving early. On the drive home, my boyfriend asked if I was okay. I told him there was nothing new to be upset about, just more of the same. That night, I realized something. I wasn't waiting for closure. I wasn't expecting an apology or a breakthrough moment. Some distances stay because they're supposed to. And I'd stopped trying to close the gap.